children of Afghan refugees born in Pakistan are entitled to the country's citizenship under Section 4 of the Pakistan Citizenship Act. Supreme Court's Justice Ayesha observed that Pakistan was bound by the UN's conventions that protected the rights of the refugees. So how hopeful are you that your petition will achieve its aim to halt the crackdown on Afghans?
USSR invasion on Afghanistan, that was the time when they first started migrating and coming to Pakistan. Families who migrated at that time, they are having their third generation coming up. So their sons and daughters and then their grandsons and granddaughters were actually born in Pakistan. So anybody who's born in Pakistan is actually a Pakistani.
What do you think was the urgency for this government to take this decision up at this point? I mean, we could have waited till after the elections.
We are kept in dark as to what are the motives of this apex committee and why are they in a hurry that they gave only 1 month deadline. It's like beyond understanding, beyond any comprehension. It's like out of proportionate act of this caretaker government to make all the Afghans leave this country within a month.
Assalamu alaikum and hello, Faryal on New Wave Global. Early in October, Pakistan's interim government announced that all illegal immigrants living in the country repatriate by November 1 or face deportation. Hit hard by this decision are hundreds of thousands of unregistered Afghan refugees and asylum seekers living in Pakistan for years. Now, does the caretaker government have the authority to introduce such major policy shifts when under Pakistani law, the caretaker government is there to only take care of the day-to-day matters of the state is a question that is being asked. Consequently, challenging the interim government's move while seeking orders to restrain the government and the law enforcement agencies from implementing this expulsion policy, a group of politicians and rights activists filed a petition in the Supreme Court on November 1st. Amina Masood was one of the petitioners filing this appeal in the Apex Court. She joins me here to discuss her hopes with the petition and the repercussions of this decision. Ms. Amina Masood is a human rights activist. She has worked relentlessly against enforced disappearances in Pakistan. Following her husband Masood Janjua's disappearance in 2005, she has campaigned with the families of the forcefully abducted, co-founding the activist group Defense of Human Rights. She has worked for the release of foreign prisoners incarcerated in Pakistan and Pakistanis detained abroad. Her organization works closely with Amnesty International and United Nations Fund for Victims of Torture. Ma'am, thank you for making time for us.
Most welcome.
You are one of the petitioners who filed an appeal in the Supreme Court led by former Senator Faryal Shahzad, challenging mass deportation of the Afghans, while later a similar petition was moved by before the Apex Court by a group of academics from the Lahore University of Management Sciences, seeking a declaration that the children of Afghan refugees born in Pakistan are entitled to the country's citizenship under Section 4 of the Pakistan Citizenship Act. While it also contends that this mass deportation violates sections of the Foreigners Act. Now, during the hearing of the petitions last week, Supreme Court's Justice Ayesha observed that Pakistan was bound by the UN's conventions that protected the rights of the refugees. So how hopeful are you that your petition will achieve its aim to halt the crackdown on Afghans?
Thank you very much, Faryal. Yeah, it's an honor for me to be the petitioner in this highly important and humanitarian cause because the Afghans have been refugees in the country our country since not today, but from the last 40-45 years. At the time of USSR invasion on Afghanistan, that was the time when they first started migrating and coming to Pakistan. And over the years, those families who migrated at that time, they are having their third generation coming up. So their sons and daughters, and then their grandsons and granddaughters were actually born in Pakistan. So anybody who's born in Pakistan is actually a Pakistani. Similarly, there was a second episode of migrations, which started after 2021 in August 15, when Taliban had their government and Americans were ousted and they went back to their country. At that time also, those who felt any danger to their life or to their careers, or those who were the singers, who were the actors and performers, mostly a human rights community, they migrated. And even now there are huge number, like 1.4 million, which have migrated altogether. So those are also actually in danger, and because of the so much overburden on the institutions who were registering them. So there were three registering bodies, UNHCR, SHARP, and another organization which was under SHARP. So three organizations were doing their registration. They could not do it overnight. So it's taking a lot of time. Anybody who is without any registration card, without any identity, that doesn't mean they don't want to get it. Rather, they are in a queue. They are in a queue to get the registration. Anybody who had this registration, one citizenship card or card of the NARA, which means that they have been registered as a refugee since they came 40 years ago. So all those lawfully they are allowed. Nobody can expel them or forcefully make them go out of the country overnight. We have got all the laws on our side. Plus, this is a caretaker government. The caretaker government has a limited mandate. The only thing they have to worry about is to conduct elections in a fair and transparent manner. There's no other responsibility which is that they don't have any other responsibility to do, especially to take long-term measures, and especially those which deals with a lot of humanitarian crisis. They are simply not allowed to do that. And if they have taken that, they have been demolishing a lot of conventional laws and universal laws, international foreign acts of Pakistan. So they are actually violating a lot of local and international laws. So how come they are able to do that? They are not allowed to demolish all these laws.
So why do you think
so, of course, the Supreme Court has the ability and the knowledge and wisdom to overview the whole scenario. And we have got a very good, bench, which has Ayesha Malik, which has Yahya Afridi. So we are very hopeful that these wise people will put together their wisdom, and they will, put a stay on the exodus of Afghani people, which are facing extreme crisis. Because I deal with humanitarian issues and in the prisoners activities, which are prisoners which are Pakistani prisoners abroad, or any other nationals which are imprisoned in Pakistan. So that's our mandate. So we have been able to get a lot of Afghanis and Pakistanis released from Afghanistan. And now it's another big issue which we have to tackle, because there are Afghanis in Pakistan who have been incarcerated in the jails and who have been disappeared in Pakistan. So those families, how can they leave their loved ones there?
Sorry to cut you short, but what do you think was the urgency for this government to take this decision up at this point? I mean, we could have waited till after the elections to maybe make a more calculated decision. Why do you think this decision was taken in such a hurry?
Yeah, that's like, we are also shocked. that why it was given about not giving any details of the apex committee which announced this, and who were the members of those this apex committee which ordered this exodus of Afghani nationals. And plus we are kept in dark as to what are the motives of this apex committee, and why are they in a hurry that they gave only 1 month deadline. It's like beyond understanding, beyond any comprehension. It's like out of proportionate act of this caretaker government to make all the Afghans leave this country within a month.
So you
we think that they are trying to uh, to make our attention towards things which are irrelevant, and actually they are creating trouble for Pakistan, because we want to have very good brotherly relations with our neighbors. But what is happening is, because of this decision, Afghanis have also resorted, and they have also given a couple of statements against Pakistan. So we did not wanted that kind of friction between our neighbors.
You
So
think
actually,
the
not
move,
just that this step is against the national integrity of Pakistan, it's rather against the peace and solidarity of Pakistan.
you think the move is meant to pressurize the Afghan Taliban to control the PTP? Because we know the caretaker government, he told journalists a few days ago that after non-cooperation from the Afghan government, Pakistan has decided to take matters in its own hands. And this move is, it shouldn't be unexpected or surprising, in his words. Do you think this is one of the reasons? And will the move help curb terrorist attacks and militancy in Pakistan? There was an IED blast in Peshawar in the morning today, which left 6 people, including 4 children, injured. So nothing seems to sort of deter such attacks.
Attacks in Pakistan, the terrorist attacks are happening since 9/11. It's not something which is happening right away now. Even before the Afghans came, there were terrorist attacks. In the Ziaul Haq regime, there were terrorist attacks. There were in the Pervez Musharraf regime, there were terrorist attacks. And it is something to do with some insider jobs. Whenever the government wants to divert our attention, they start doing this kind of things. So we don't think that this is something external. We feel that this is something internal. They have to, what's the use of these security forces and intelligence agencies if they are not able to curtail these attacks? What are they supposed to do? It is their intelligence to, comprehend and beforehand, control these kinds of attacks. If they are not doing so, it means that they have failed.
Right. So there are analysts who are also saying that crackdown on the Afghan migrants ahead of the February's elections is going to be a big blow for Imran Khan's PTI, as Afghans are considered to be PTI's vote bank. Last week, the Interior Ministry cautioned illegal and legal Afghan migrants to refrain from supporting or funding any political candidates or electoral activities in Pakistan. Is the deportation move also or only aimed at further dismantling PTI's vote bank? Do you think this is also one of the reasons?
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I'm also starting to believe that it can be one of the reasons, because this is true that a lot of Pashtuns and Pashtun exist on both sides of the Durand line. For Pashtun, there is no border between Pakistan and Afghanistan, and they are one tribals who are living on the side of the Pakistan, and also the same tribe is existing on the other side of the border. So they don't believe in this kind of border at all. And they firmly believed in the wisdom of PTI and especially Imran Khan, and they strongly voted for him. And even before 2018 elections, in 2013 election also, Imran Khan was holding the government of KPK. So it's been like almost 8 to 9 years that KPK is ruled by PTI. And now, after the demolishing of PTI government in last year, after the no confidence move, a lot of Afghanis who are now Pakistanis, of course, it's one and the same thing. They are going to vote for PTI and for Imran Khan, and maybe that's why they have made this strategy just before elections, so that even Pashtuns and Afghans are discouraged, and they will not be able to give their vote, because they will be in such a turmoil. They are not even allowed to take away their cattle back. They are not even allowed to take more than 50,000 rupees. So when they have done business over here, they have earned, they have built up their properties, their land, their buildings. How can they just leave everything and cross the border? It's absolutely inhumane.
It is. And from the way things are moving, we are expecting perhaps a phase-wise expulsion of everyone. I mean, in phase 2, authorities are going to probably expel Afghan citizen card holders, and then even those with proof of registration will probably have to leave. Though news
Yes.
of people with documentation being harassed and repatriated are already there. I mean, there are already news that people who are holding valid cards and valid registration are also being repatriated.
Yeah, we have started. It is happening like that. That even the card holders will be expelled one day. We are just giving some cushion time for them to sort the matters out, and then they should be going back. They have to start thinking of going back. So we have started one thing, that we issue a letter on my letterhead, and we give the statement about the so and so person, like the families which are attached to defense of human rights. We write their names and everything, and we say that we condemn this forceful expulsion of Afghanis, and the matter is sub judice in the Supreme Court of Pakistan. And unless and until the matter is decided, nobody is actually authorized to expel any of the Afghanis, whether they have cards or they don't have cards. Because in the Article 4 of Pakistan Constitution, it guarantees uh, right to live, right to life, and anybody who exists on the land of Pakistan will be guaranteed. So we are not allowed to, by constitution as well, and through these letters we have been successful in managing to stop many deportations which were due. Some of our families have been able to stay here in spite of having their cards and everything. So we can further expand this letter system of giving these letters to the affected families.
So, talking a little about people's reaction, there's almost a palpable silence on the streets of Pakistan. The economically and politically battered Pakistanis are not protesting this move to expel Afghan refugees. There's no outrage on the streets. There was this survey done by Gallup Pakistan, and according to that survey, 84% of Pakistanis strongly approved government's move to deport illegal Afghanis from Pakistan. And it was found that there were around 64% of the respondents who said that repatriation of the Afghans would lead to improved security and peace. So in that case, you think Pakistan is justified in doing what we are doing, since this is what the people of Pakistan want? Maybe we've had enough.
Yeah, but what does the law say? What does the constitution say? If like 85% of Pakistanis don't know about the constitution, 85% of Pakistanis are involved in their everyday struggle just to get to survive. They are trying to plunge into economic collapse. So they don't have much to say about Afghan crisis, because there are already so many crises which are going on. And the worst of all is the battle for survival. Because of the price hike and escalation and the devaluation of the Pakistani rupee. And so there are 1001 issues plus this international scenario as well. Since the war started in Gaza, things have also, people have more started thinking about in those terms, in the international way. And for about if 85% are saying wrong, if they are voting, casting their votes wrong, that doesn't mean they are on the right. So, and because they have been a narrative which has been built by the state through social media, through state media, through talk shows and all that, which are convincing the ordinary people of Pakistan, which are convincing that the reason for terrorism, the reason for every kind of mischief in Pakistan is because of the Afghanis. So this is a wrong narrative which is being built. And what to say about their own doings, what they themselves are doing. They have been like harboring uh, terrorism in themselves. They are involved in state terrorism in abducting their own citizens from across Pakistan. The whole Baluchistan is now in one voice crying and yelling. Similarly, in KPK, in Punjab, in Gilgit-Baltistan, and also in Kashmir and Sindh. So no place is safe. So can't they look into their own, into their selves and what they themselves are doing? So how can they build such narrative when they have built this narrative? That is the reason that 85% of Pakistanis are voting against Afghanis.
Also, I think when nations are going through a tough phase, which we are at the moment, you do sort of tend to develop xenophobic tendencies. You become more intolerant towards minorities, towards people from other lands, and maybe this is one of the reasons people are just sick and tired of the insecurity around us, the militant attacks. And like you're saying, the narrative that is being promoted, people are more likely to resort to that narrative. There are also reports. There are also reports of hundreds of dollars in exit fees, which are being charged from Afghan refugees who fled Taliban's persecution and are awaiting relocation to the Western countries under various resettlement schemes. There was a report in The Guardian the other day that said that a fee of around $830 per person is being charged, which is also being condemned as shocking by international rights organizations. It is unfair because we should be making the resettlement process easier for them, and this is the lofty exit permit fee. Why do you think this very unjustified charge has been imposed? Why is the government charging them such a high fee for this?
Actually, it's a big mafia. Whenever there's a tragedy, whenever there's a humanitarian crisis, migrations, war and terror, and any such scenario which is dealing with the public of Pakistan, with the minorities or with anybody who is being migrated, the government takes it as as an opportunity to earn dollars. We have been earning dollars in the war and terror. And unfortunately, this was validated by the ex-president Pervez Musharraf in his own book, In the Line of Fire. He mentioned that the government has received bounties of dollars from CIA in handing over people. So it's like selling their own people. They have been doing this kind of thing. So any such humanitarian crisis is actually looked upon by the government of Pakistan as an opportunity to earn. And maybe the top officials will not be informed. The lower staff or the lower people or the people at the borders are involved in this kind of activity, and they are hiding this from their top bosses. So this is also a possibility. And there's also fee is being asked from the Pakistanis, by the Pakistanis, from the Afghanistani people, to let them stay in Pakistan. And when this fees is being taken and they go back to Pakistan and they try to resettle, then they are again caught by the Pakistani security forces and they are again expelled. So that is also, it's happening on two-way basis. This is very, very unfortunate.
Yeah,
and conscious people, especially civil society, academicians, and especially the people as well, who are aware and who really want to save Pakistan and to build it on the pure democratic values, uh, people like us, we will not settle down. We will continue to raise our voice in whichever platform we are able to. If we have to do the international lobbying, we'll do that. We have to go abroad and meet or attend certain conferences, we'll do that. If we are fighting this petition, this is not the end of the world. We have many other venues to go up. So we'll continue this struggle. Come what may.
Yes, and talking of resettlement, there is a very high number of. There was a report in the British media that there were around 3,000 Afghans who are in Islamabad awaiting evacuation to the UK, and then there are around 1,500 who are awaiting the same to Germany, and around 20,000 people who have been recommended for asylum by US officials and NGOs, and they are waiting in Pakistan for their cases to be examined. So I think it'll be sad if all of them get caught in this deportation dragnet while they are waiting their evacuation to the Western countries. The Norwegian. Exactly. The Norwegian and Danish refugee councils and the International Rescue Committee, they have reported widespread harassment as around 10,000 Afghans cross the border daily. And like you yourself just mentioned, that there are reports of Afghans with valid documents who are just fleeing police harassment. And then there are restrictions, like you just mentioned, on the livestock and the cash that you can take with you, and anything in excess of that has to be left behind. But then there are people who are complaining that even an amount which is less than the limit is being confiscated, and their jewelry and their personal belongings are being confiscated. And if this wasn't bad enough, there are reports of police allegedly asking for sexual favors from Afghan women looking to avoid detention. Now that's like adding insult to the injury that Pakistan has caused. How can this type of harassment be kept in check?
Yeah, it's because the political will of the Pakistani government is lacking in every venue, in every kind of wrongdoing which they are exercising at the borders and even in taking the decision. And because at the borders things go out of control, and things like that, and sexual harassment and reports of these are coming, which are very, very disturbing, and it's like putting more on the insult, adding insult to their agonies and miseries, which cannot be justified by anything at all. And government must prevent this at any cost. So far, they have been just adding to the troubles of Afghanis. But this kind of mishap can lead to international humiliation and international bashing of Pakistan by the United Nations and by all the international bodies which are keeping an eye on the human rights records of Pakistan. So, considering all this, plus also the dignity of humanity, dignity of life and its respect, Pakistan must take immediate action and try to repair all the damages which they have already done, and taking back this decision of revoking this decision of deportation of Afghanis, because it is going to continue. If that is going to continue, the crisis is going to escalate, and it will escalate to the limit. At the point, it can go to the point from where it will be out of control of even Pakistan, and we will be adding trouble to our own bucket.
Some observers are also of the view that Pakistan's expulsion of Afghans will pose more security risks for Pakistan and Afghanistan instead of removing the risk factor. And they say that since Taliban would not be able to manage the huge influx of returnees who are desperate to sustain their families, some will be misled into criminal activities within Afghanistan, and others might get into armed militancy. So perversely for Pakistan, the winner in this chaos, in that case, would be the TTP, which might find among those who have been expelled individuals who are familiar with Pakistan and could be persuaded to attack the state that destroyed their lives by deporting them. How do you view this preposition?
Yeah, this is actually quite possible and very realistic, I would say, because there is presence of TTP, and they can, take this opportunity into grabbing the desperate people, who have been cornered already, who have been devoid of everything. They have been crushed and oppressed in the worst way possible. So they can take advantage of that and use them against Pakistan itself. So that's a very, very dangerous possibility that can happen. And it's quite possible that we in near future we might start uh, reaping what we have already sowed. So if we are going to sow hatred, if we are going to sow oppression, then obviously that's going to be cultivated, and that will grow into a crop, and that's what we have to reap at a certain time. So as you sow, so shall you reap.
Also, one thing that really sort of is beyond understanding is that this repatriation is a logistical nightmare, especially in this freezing weather, with thousands of these refugees crowded into the narrow mountain passes, deportees. They have to probably wait for days on the Pakistani side. And once they're across the border, they wait for days again before an overwhelmed Afghan authority can register them and transport them to makeshift camps. Now, is the Pakistan government taking the impact of these logistical challenges into account, or are they totally unaware, or they not bothering to try to understand what exactly this means? The fact that such a huge number of people have to be deported in such a short period.
Yeah, that's designed that way because the kind of order which came from the apex committee and what the planning was behind behind the closed doors and by the god knows who is the mastermind of this kind of plan. They had, of course, very much in mind that it's going to create a crisis situation, and it's going to prevail for not just for 1 month, it's going to prevail for years ahead. And that would mean that years of suffering and, especially at the borders, when they don't want to go, and over there nobody is there to receive them happily on both sides. They don't want to leave from here and they don't want to go there. From there they are expelled forcefully. Over there they are not welcomed. And this is another tragedy and very emotional trauma which is attached to their deportation. Plus their physical torment, physical torture also involved, because this is a very, very sad part of this whole scenario, that for years and months ahead they will be on the borders, and in this freezing weather they will have nothing. And because of the sick, because of the poor, and because of the aged people who are the elderly people, they might in this process of deportation, they might even die.
Even the children and the women.
Yeah, and the children also, they will get sick, they will get pneumonias, they will get like viruses, and what they were feeding on, what they are eating, what they are taking, their clean water available to them. Nobody is really helping them. The far-flung areas of the Khyber Pass, and these are the areas where only the truck drivers can be, available. No other village or no other such cities near these areas. Also from the Chaman border and from the Khyber Pass border, both are equally bad, deserted. So there is no humanitarian help which is being given to these poor Afghanis, and who are being expelled in a very, very tragic manner. And unfortunately, I really, really don't want to say this, but it feels like it is designed to be like that. unfortunately.
Yeah. The situation for women and girls, I think, is also exceptionally challenging. The International Rescue Committee, they carried out an assessment of individuals who were arriving in Afghanistan's Turkham, out of which 30% of the respondents were women. And out of that 30%, 59% were pregnant or they were lactating, which is more than half. And 84% of the respondents said that they had no access to food. Those who are returning also worry about Taliban's restrictions on girls' education, and these are pretty depressing statistics. It's like we are literally pushing these women into a hellhole by deporting them.
Yes, yeah, that's true, because their right to education, their right to involve in business and politics, and to have their own choice, it's their inalienable right, and it cannot be taken away. And if they have taken refuge in Pakistan, to be able to get these things, to be able to get enough food and water, if not careers, and if not sophisticated things, that's their right. And any country cannot, because they were not happy to become refugees, they were only forced to, they were forced to become refugees. They have been forced to, that means that there's no possibility of having a good life for them in the country of their origin. That is the reason why they have migrated. Because it's not an easy task to just leave everything behind, take yourselves and cross the border, coming into an unknown. They have come into an unknown. But now, after coming to an unknown, they don't want to again go back to an unknown place, which might be detrimental to their human rights as well as their survival.
Yes, and life in Afghanistan is going to be much tougher, not forgetting that Afghanistan's economy is hamstrung by sanctions, and then there are banking restrictions, and there are natural disasters. I think they are unable to provide jobs for new entrants to the workforce every year, and it is hard to imagine how these hundreds of thousands of deportees from Pakistan will find employment, or how will they sustain their families, especially when women cannot work and girls can't go to school.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I'm very grateful to you. Yes, very grateful to you, Ms. Janjua, for your invaluable time. Thank you for very much for your presence. Thank you for watching. Allah Hafiz and goodbye.